Breaking news coming in from Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network. Dan Quinn has informed teams that he is staying with the Dallas Cowboys. Oh my
God! Wow. Lots of questions here. How big of a deal is this? And do you think that was really his announcement to make, or is it just nobody picked him and he's like, "Hey, I'm going back to the Cowboys"?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. I think that he probably had. I'm going to guess this, and we get to talk to Bobby Belt here pretty soon. Is maybe he had his heart set on Denver.
Yeah.
Maybe for some reason he just saw that as the place that he wanted to be, whether it was the city, whether it was the front office, whatever it was. Maybe he had really had his heart set on Denver being the job, but he was doing these other interviews. But now that they're all filled, except for the New York Giants for the most part, right?
Yeah.
You talked about the Las Vegas Raiders is somewhat open right now too, but it doesn't seem like Dan Quinn was a candidate there. Is maybe he finally got to the point where all the jobs got filled. He looked at New York, the Giants, and said, I don't want to do the New York thing, because that is a different job than other places, because you can get treated like crap, and your PR people and everything are not going to say, hey, I'm going to kick the media out of here for asking that question or saying that to your face. And so maybe he's like, I just don't want to deal with New York.
I can totally see that, but that's a lot of skepticism, like skeptical outlooking on my part. So I don't know the answer to that. I do know this, though. He drafted Micah Parsons, and he gets to coach Micah Parsons again. He had Trevon Diggs playing at an exceptionally high level again, and he looks at his defense and goes, it's a pretty good defense that I started building right there. The opportunity to continue working with that defense sounds like a lot of fun, and now I get another draft to work with Will McClay to find more of my guys. So what I brought in this year was a group that we were able to patch together, and it worked out. It looked really good. Can we add more of that and grow it? So to have for the Cowboys, Kevin, I think this is more of a positive, because now you're bringing back a defensive coordinator that's not trying to change the way Diggs plays. Maybe he alters or tweaks something that he does. He had the vision to see Micah Parsons in multiple different areas on the field. Hell, he had him line up at safety once. So like all these different things that you did there. Now you're going to go find me, and maybe we go find another defensive player in the draft that I can get my hands on and mold. Like there's some good things, I think, that are positive for second year with Dan Quinn as opposed to the other part. And also, I don't know if Jerry Jones was like, you know what, we want you back, and you go interview, but you come back to us first before you make any decisions. Like those could be some things too, but I think for Dan Quinn, he's looking at it, there's a lot more comfort in knowing that he gets to coach Micah Parsons another season. And man, come on, dude, like you got that kind of talent, you don't want to work with it anymore. That's another thing.
Yeah. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I don't think that's what happened at all.
Well, that's it sucks.
But
he sucks. He's a bad head coach.
Okay, well,
he lost a Super Bowl.
That is literally. I'm sorry if that
Nobody
hurt your
wants
feelings.
him.
That's literally not what I said. It's a great deal for the Cowboys. I do agree with that. I don't think. I mean, that would be great if he looked at the landscape of the Giants, the Bears, the Broncos, whoever, and it was like, you know what, I'd rather be back here. That seems counterintuitive to me, but if that's what happened, that makes me all the more optimistic for next year. But I really am excited that he's back, because to your point about Diggs and Parsons, I give all, maybe all is not fair because the players obviously did a whole lot, but you give a ton of credit to Dan Quinn for everything that happened with this defense, right? Like almost all of the credit, not to discount the players. That is completely unfair, but I give so much of the credit.
I give all the credit to Jerry for making the final decision to get the players and the coach at the same time.
Okay.
Jerry gets the credit.
Man, he'll call back up and be angry if we don't.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, like, no, there are some good positives about this. I can totally see, him not getting the head coaching opportunity. Eberflus is a hot name. Eberflus
Sure.
should be a hot name. For the Broncos, Mike might have a really good point there in that's the only place that Dan Quinn really, truly wanted to go.
You could
And he
be
was
onto that.
And the other thing about that is maybe, because is it Aaron Rodgers at plus 110 to go to Denver to be this game one starter right now next year?
Which makes a lot of sense given, and like, honestly, and with all due respect to Dan Quinn, if you're the Broncos and Nathaniel Hackett, I don't know if he can pay off this guarantee or not. But if he goes, hey, if you hire me, I'm bringing Aaron Rodgers and maybe Devontae Adams. Oh, sorry, Dan Quinn. See you later.
What if Dan Quinn said, I'll top that? I think I can get Matt Ryan.
I'm bringing Micah Parsons in 4 years.
Okay, well, yeah. See, I would be very dubious about that Matt Ryan thing. I'd be like, okay, hold on. Do you understand how the hierarchy of quarterbacks work? Because, like, Corey, you talked about it. The segment was going to be, could the Cowboys actually keep Dan Quinn? And the list, I was looking at it, is, at the start, you had Raiders, Jags, Dolphins, Bears, Vikings, Giants, Saints, Texans, all still looking for coaches. Now, for the Dolphins, it sounded like it was going to be Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator for Buffalo. For the Jags, it sounds more and more like they're leaning towards Leftwich. For the Giants,
and I hope Leftwich is awesome, just because I need Trevor Lawrence to get better at football.
Can we? I want to stop real quick, Kevin.
Okay.
The Dolphins job.
Yep.
They had a defensive-minded head coach.
Yep.
And their offense was not electric. And so like you just said, it looks like the offensive coordinator from the Bills who's created a great offense up there.
Sure.
Like Mike talks about this all the time in baseball, where you have this kind of coach that's real hard-nosed, a Buck Showalter, and then you need to kind of change your approach and go with maybe a lighter players kind of coach whenever you go with that. Like a lot of times these happen. Dolphins make that adjustment. All right, so you went to Jacksonville. Jacksonville has, chaos, and Byron Leftwich they kind of love. All right, what was the next group? You got Joe Judge up in New York.
Yep.
They leave him, and now Flores, who sounds like a similar coach to Joe Judge.
Which would make it an interesting move if he picked up with the Giants. But supposedly that was the buzz, is Flores or Quinn. But we kind of thought Quinn was going to Denver. And I'm not kidding. When Troy was like, we have more breaking news, and I was like, oh, God, don't say he's going to go coach the Giants. And then it was Eberflus, obviously going to the Bears, so they're off the list. And you look at the list
now. Does that mean Brian Flores is going to be the Giants coach? Because we got the Dan Quinn breaking news. I'm just wondering, did Dan Quinn get ahead of it because he might have been hearing that Flores is the favorite and probably going to be the guy? And Flores, this is interesting because did he lose the Denver job, as I'm just putting this together? Did he lose the Denver job because the offensive coordinator for the Packers believes he has a great chance of getting Aaron Rodgers to Denver?
Possible.
And they said, okay, and is he losing the Giants job? Possibly. I don't know, because Brian Flores is saying, and I have no clue if the Giants really would do this, but hey, I promise you I can get Deshaun Watson here.
Ooh.
Well,
and then if that's the promise, and might be the deciding factor of
it is not. I am sure it is not, because the Giants are going to look like asshats now if that happens. They just put their statement out yesterday. We will unequivocally not. And so I'm going to take that at face value. Although I know in the world of sports, all kinds of things you take at face value.
He is going to get traded though, right? If the Giants say no, but the Dolphins say no, but that would mean Deshaun Watson's career's over.
I think he'll get traded for sure, especially Houston was like, I think it's more likely than not that he won't be here. I just don't think the Giants will be the destination. And then the landscape from there meant it was if you take all these favorites at face value, the Raiders, the Vikings, the Saints, and the Texans. Well, if you didn't want to go to the Jags, why the hell would you want to go to the Texans? So that leaves you with the Saints, Vikings, and Raiders. Supposedly the Raiders are pretty locked in on maybe Harbaugh, maybe keeping Bisaccia. And so that takes you down to the Vikings and the Saints. And then to your earlier point, Corey, I could see, when there's 9 jobs, I'm like, well, surely one of them will fit your skill set. If it's down to those 2, and you're like, okay, I don't have a quarterback either place for my team, and in one place in New Orleans, I have no hope of getting out of this spot. Like, maybe then that gets you to that point. I'm honestly not sure.
And what I did think it was funny, Choppy was like, man, these jobs don't come around too often. They come around every year. It's just a different franchise.
Yeah, there'll be like, 5 more next year.
And maybe that's another thing that factored into it. Dallas, not a bad place. We won the division. Still view of winning the division again. Chance to go in the playoffs. I get to grow with these guys just a little bit more. And, maybe I find a job I really want next time. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe the defense stinks this year and he's not as hot of a commodity. But I would bet a guy that's been pretty successful over his entire career doing what he does, the type of energy that he has, that they should be pretty good again and growing as they draft or add free agents in this offseason.